All right, hello. My name is Todd McLaughlin. Welcome to Grow Your Yoga every Thursday, 12 p.m. Eastern. I'm here at Native Yoga Center in Juno Beach. Today, the webinar is 10-minute Ashtanga Yoga for low back pain. So if you experience back pain and or low back pain, what I'm going to do here is utilize some of the movements and positions in the Ashtanga Yoga series, in the primary series, that I'm going to approach them in a way that'll be very easy, simple to follow, and a great way to reduce low back pain and tension. On that note, obviously, set your yoga mat up so you're ready to go. And the first thing we're going to do is we're going to use the warm-up of the sun salutation, but we're going to do it in a way where it's like super easy and mellow on the back. And what I want to focus on is the fact that if you are not a yoga practitioner, you have back pain, and you're nervous about embarking on a yoga journey or a yoga path because of the fear that what if I trigger the pain by making a movement that is a little bit too much? So I have you in mind. All right. With that being said, the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to come down onto our hands and knees and start off in a child's pose. So in child's pose, basically come down to hands and knees, point your toes, bring your hips towards your heels, and relax your forehead down to the ground. If child's pose is not possible because the knees won't bend, one way you can approach this is come forward onto your elbows, and you can hold and gauge and monitor the amount of pressure that you place into your knees. Once you're established and able to come down onto the hands-knee position, come up onto your hand and knees. And in Ashtanga Yoga, we have what's called up dog and down dog. What I want you to start with first is just make very subtle movement with your spine in the flexion and extension position. The extension position is where you lift your tailbone and chin. Flexion position is where cat pose, you round your spine. Okay, and then coordinate your breath with the movement. So you inhale and lift your chin up, and you exhale and tuck your chin and round your spine. If you are apprehensive of moving your back when you are experiencing back pain, the idea, or perhaps you're feeling really good today and you want to start practicing some yoga to stretch and loosen your body, but you're nervous about overstretching or triggering your back, make very subtle movements. Just start off really slow, really easy. Feel your body, work with your breath. Make really simple cat-cow motion. Okay, the next position I want you to try is to come up into a standing position. Whenever you stand, imagine you're picking up a heavy box. You use your legs, not your back. Stand up with your knees bending. The next pose we have is called Padahastasana. And in this posture, separate your feet about hip width apart and come down into a bend of your knees and land your elbows on your thighs. Where the position, when the back is feeling good and the flexibility is open, would be a full forward bend with straight legs. But what I want you to do in the beginning is start with your bend in your knees and just very gently start to press your knees back and test the movements of your hamstrings without really bending your back all that much. So you're going to isolate the movement at your pelvis, keeping your elbows on your knees, and just work extension of the knees, which is where you press your knees back, and flexion of the knees. Now, press your knees back. Try to find where the stretch feels good but isn't too intense, and breathe in and out of your nose. Breathe, inhale, and exhale for 1. Breathe, inhale, exhale for 2. Over time, we'll work more and more. 3, pressing the knees all the way back, but in the beginning, imagine you're sitting down into a chair. 4, and you can give a little bit of down pressure and even round your spine to create some space. 5, to come back up, bend your knees, lift your chin and chest, and come all the way back up to standing. Good. The next pose I'd like for you to try, I want you to come down into a seated position. So you come all the way down and first test and see if you are able to sit with your legs together in front of you. If the hamstrings are really tight and or you're feeling super stiff in the back, I want you to lean back on your hands and practice making that subtle cat-cow motion, now seated with your legs in front of you. Okay, what we're aiming for over time is the ability to put our hands on our knees and sit nice and straight up and down with the spine. I want you to currently to avoid doing deep spinal flexion in this position. Start off with your hands on your knees and begin to work and lift your chest up. And if it's difficult to sit at this 90-degree bend, lean back on your hands and do the exact same thing where you just practice lifting your chest up. Okay, good. Now the next one is called Janusirsasana. And here, the reason we're going to add this one is to stretch out the QL and the low back, the quadratus lumborum. So what you do is you take your right knee, bend it, bring the heel close to the hip, and attempt to gently release and relax the knee down toward the floor. If you need a prop, you can always take a blanket, a block, a pillow, or something of this nature, and you can slide it underneath your thigh if you experience knee pain to give you a little bit of stability. Similar to how we approach the Paschimottanasana, you place your hands on your shin or even on your knee and try to pull the belly in and sit up as straight as possible. So basically, you're just keeping your spine in a relatively neutral position. You're not adding a whole lot of flexion, and you don't necessarily aren't trying to go into a back bend. You have a relatively neutral spine. And then pull the belly in and gently fold forward over the leg, just to the point where it feels like your back is beginning to stretch, specifically your right side low back, and you're relaxed in your hip and your knee. Okay, breathe in and out of the nose, 5 breaths. Inhale, exhale. Good. Breathe in, breathe out. This technique is called Ujjayi. Breathe in through the nose, but here in the throat. Exhale through the throat. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Breathe in and breathe out. That's 5. We're going to do the other side. Slowly come back up. Go ahead and release and take your right leg forward and bend your left knee and bring your left heel in close towards your hip. Reach forward for the right foot. Take a breath in and exhale, fold forward. This is a very short 10-minute routine that you can do in the morning, evening, anytime during the day. 2, breathe through the nose. Remember, mouth stays closed. 3, just put a nice, simple, gentle stretch into the left side waistline, low back. 4, breathe, inhale, and exhale. 5. Good. Next up, go ahead and come up, and we're going to move right into a recline position. I'm going to have you lie down onto your back, and we're going to start off with the bend in the knees. Okay, with the bend in the knees, we're going to work strengthening the hips and the legs, working a very gentle back bend. So we did a forward bend. We're now going to back bend with bridge. How I want you to begin is just press down, just lift your hips just a little bit up off the floor. Draw your knees in toward each other, not necessarily together, but adduct. Use a little bit of leg strength to draw your legs in. And as you're holding, try to squeeze or contract just a little bit in your abdomen so your abdominal muscles are strong. And then release and lower back down. We're going to do that again. Press your feet down, raise your hips up, creating a very subtle extension position in your back. But really, we're just learning to stabilize and work the leg strength, the hip strength, and the abdominal strength. Good. And lower back down. Now take your knees towards your body. Wrap or grab the knees or wrap around and gently pull the knees down and towards your chest, creating a little bit of compression of your thigh against your abdomen. Create a really simple stretch, and if it feels good to roll side to side, you can create a really easy, gentle rolling stretch across your back. All right, nicely done. To come back up, roll over onto your side position. So it's possible for you to come all the way up to seated. And let's see if you are able to sit in a cross leg position. When you sit in the cross leg position, you can lean back onto your hands to be able to lift your chest up. However, if you have the ability to start to stretch forward, here we're also going to stretch the lower back by just leaning the body forward in what's called yoga mudra. If you have the ability to come all the way down, then of course you can work a nice deep stretch, bringing your head down. Based on the level of flexibility that you currently have, if it's possible to be flexible and still have back pain. So with that being said, if you're able to go far and it actually feels good, go for it. But if you need to be careful, just lean a little bit forward. Just start working your yoga practice simple like this. This is a very short, we already reached the 10-minute mark. It's a very short routine that you can do. Remember, we did a little bit of cat-cow to warm up like a sun salute. We came into the Padahastasana with the feet hip distance apart. We came down to the floor, did the Janusirsasana right side, left side. We lie down on the back, did the bridge, and then here we have the cross leg gentle forward bend. All right, and then you can always, in terms of a shavasana or relaxation position, you can always relax on your back. But what's really common when you lie down on your back, if the legs are straight, is that can actually put a little bit of crunch in the low back. So if it's more comfortable for you to bend your knees, draw the knees in and together and just relax and recline on your back in this resting position. I hope that you enjoyed this session. Today I created a nice little short one, 10 minutes. Remember, you can check us out at our website, nativeyogacenter.com. And you can also look for a podcast release I do every Friday called Native Yoga Toddcast. And we also have all of our classes recorded and uploaded onto our nativeyogaonline.com. You'll see the link on our homepage of our website where it says online classes and courses. Thank you so much for joining in. If you have a specific topic you would like for me to cover, every Thursday at 12 p.m. I make these tutorials. Thank you again. It's a pleasure always. And until next Thursday, we'll see you then. Thank you, Michael. Thank you for the comment on YouTube. I appreciate it.